Hey guys, it's Danny. Alrighty, today we're gonna do some updates on some orchids. We have some strange things happening, some good things happening as well, and some bad things. So it's a mixed type of update. It is not a requested update, just a few orchids that I find peculiar or interesting. So let us start with this Cattleya orchid. Do we see what's wrong with this picture? Yeah, we have a leafless cane, which has a bud. Now, this is an orchid that I received pretty recently, I think for about 5 months or so. It is a standard NoID Cattleya hybrid, and as we all know, when we purchase new Cattleyas, chances are the root system is completely missing. This was the case with this one as well, but it is recuperating, and I'm gonna show you the new roots. And ever since I received it, it produced this cane, which is considerably tiny, but as expected for a non-root orchid. The biggest pseudobulb was this one. It was in bloom when my mother purchased it, and it produced this strange looking thing. So let's take you in a little closer. As we can see, indeed, it is simply a pseudobulb which did not produce a leaf. Now, if we look inside, we can see that the structure is indeed forming. So the pseudobulb will, for all intents and purposes, be pretty normal. It will just miss a leaf. Now, whatever you see here around the pseudobulb, these are not leaves, they are sheaths. In the case of Cattleya orchids, as opposed to Oncidiums, these sheaths do not develop into full leaves. So what will happen next? Well, we'll have a pseudobulb, which will, I believe, look normal, but no leaf. However, I'm pretty happy about the bloom because I didn't see this orchid in bloom. My mom purchased it for me for my birthday, but on transport, the flowers just faded away. This is supposed to be a reddish type of Cattleya, fragrant, and if I know the NoID Cattleyas, it's gonna be really, really fragrant. So I'm pretty excited at least to see the flower, and hopefully this orchid will return to normal in the future. Now, I don't know why Cattleyas do this. It might just be a sign of stress. I did have this happen in the past, as it just so happens with another stressed Cattleya orchid which did not have roots. And this one is just starting to produce a nice root system, but as you can see, it is kind of lacking. Roots were really not that great when I received this orchid, but I think that from now on things will be a little better, and let's hope that the following canes will look normal. Alrighty, moving on from an orchid which doesn't have enough leaves to one that has too many leaves. Now, I showed you this one in an outro, but I'm not sure how many of you saw it. So let's just mention it again. This is the Oncidopsis Lazio, which has been in bloom for, I feel like, an eternity already, 3 months or so. Now, if you don't know the recently weird thing this one did, well, she created a flower spike from the middle of the pseudobulb. But the flowers are pretty and the orchid is in perfect condition, so I just let them be. They're also fragrant, but now she's working on a new pseudobulb right here, which is growing 2 leaves instead of 1. Now, when a new growth matures on an Oncidium type orchid, usually the leaves emerge 1 on each side in an orderly fashion. But this one decided that on top, I presume this should be the leaf on top, there will be 2 leaves instead of 1, and they're both facing the same direction. I would understand if one was positioned in this manner and the other one opposite to it, but no, they're both on the same side. And this is a first for me. Now, looking down, I can see that this is not a double leaf, it is not connected in any way. There are 2 leaves on the same side. Pretty curious to see how this will end up. And also, oh wow, I'm just noticing now, there seems to be another leaf inside here. You can barely see the tip, and another leaf inside of this one. So really don't know what she's up to. So I'm gonna speculate that what will happen is that we will have 4 leaves on top of a pseudobulb. That will be quite funny, because these 2 will be the side leaves. As you can see, the pseudobulbs have side leaves. Another strange thing that orchids do to us. Health-wise, this orchid is in perfect condition. As I was saying, there is quite a lot of root production here, pretty much everywhere in the pot. So this is a very vigorous grower, very healthy orchid. I don't think this was a reaction to stress like we had in the case of Cattleya. I think it's simply a mutation, not a frequent one, but definitely it will not be a rule that all of the pseudobulbs will produce these leaves. Okay, now for a pretty sad case that I can't figure it out. So this is a Phalaenopsis orchid. It's one of those discounted orchids that I received last year. She has some blooms, she's white, but you can totally see what's wrong with this. So, initial thought, dehydration, right? Wrong, it's not dehydration. These appeared last year actually, and the leaves never bounced back. This orchid has a root system, and no matter how much I water it and maintain it hydrated, the leaves are just super leathery. Now it started at the tip, but as you can see, it's kind of going down. Now at this point, let's say I do have a guess, it might just be fusarium, but from all of the signs of fusarium on Phalaenopsis, this is definitely not one of them. I cannot find anything to suggest what type of damage this is. It's not sun damage, it's not heat damage or cold damage, it is not lack of nutrients, it's also not desiccation. I absolutely have no idea what this is, what's causing this, but looking at it, it is clear that the tissue is not hydrated. Now if this orchid would have fusarium, theoretically, I should have some pitting or spotting on the flower spike, but I don't. Also, the flower spike kind of developed. It's not glorious, but it developed. But the orchid simply looks like it's desiccating, and I have no idea why. It might just be fusarium at this point, because how fusarium works is it blocks the channels through which the orchid gets hydration and nutrients. So this might just very well be another sign of fusarium. I don't know. I will try to cut the rhizome at this point. I'm not really necessarily interested to maintain this orchid or to keep it. So we'll see. I'll keep you up to date and I'll let you know if this one is infected with fusarium. Alrighty, so remember I had a Cattleya which pollinated herself just like that? Well, here she is. This is the update on the seed pod. It has quite a nice shape to it, doesn't it? Pretty interesting to see it develop. So the mystery of why one of my orchid flowers didn't open completely has been revealed. But I suspect that when the bud was forming, or actually the petals inside the bud were forming, they kind of managed to dislodge the pollen from its place and place it into the column. So there we go. I didn't think this orchid would accept pollen from her own flower, but obviously it did. This is the Cattleya intermedia variety aquinii. If you're interested to propagate this orchid or to pollinate it, definitely a seed pod will form even with the pollen from the same flower. Now, a while back I told you that my Neofinetia falcata was producing what I suspected to be flower spikes. Well, it turns out they're not. They're new growths. So somebody actually commented that flower spikes should arise from further up on the plant, and I think you're right indeed, because the things that I saw, this is one of them. It is definitely a new growth, and there was another one here. This is definitely a new growth as well. So yet again, I don't think this orchid wants to bloom this year. I'm not entirely sure why, but I can wait until next year. Health-wise though, this one is doing pretty well, but the roots have a mind of their own and they've decided they're just gonna go explore the world. And she's doing this quite a lot. That's pretty okay, because theoretically I shouldn't change this pot for quite a long time, so I'm not gonna mess them up, but it's just a little weird. It's also a bit risky for them to be outside of the pot because I might just snap them. I have been known to do that. There we go. If that's what they want to do, then that's what they should do. And a little update on my Dendrobium Victoria Reginae. I really wanted to film this guy before he actually opened his buds, because the buds are just the prettiest thing that I've ever seen. Look at this. They're just so waxy and so glossy, and the color is absolutely beautiful. Now this is a dendrobium known for its blue flowers, which are not actually blue, they're kind of purple, dark, indigo, something of the sorts, and the buds are surely showing it. This is not a blue orchid, but it comes close to it. However, this color is just absolutely fantastic in my eyes. I really do like it, and I have a suspicion that the flowers will not be very white. I looked around on the internet and I saw there are quite a few variations of this orchid when it comes to flowers, of course. You can have some flowers with a pretty washed out purple color. You can also have some that have more white than purple. I personally like the very waxy ones that have more purple than white, maybe a little white center. So I really hope this is like that actually. Regarding the orchid, it's quite fascinating that it is blooming on this pretty tiny cane, as you can see. This dendrobium is not a miniature. It is a young plant, but it appears to be flowering size. I expect it to grow quite large, so this is why I am a little bit surprised that it's actually blooming at this size. There you go. That's really good news, because it means that if you buy a seedling of this orchid, you will get blooms faster than you think. And to end the video, a little update on my African violets as well. One of them will bloom. That's so unexpected. This is a super tiny plant. I was seriously not expecting it to bloom right now. Usually, when you propagate African violets from leaves, it kind of takes up to a year for them to bloom. No way 4 or 5 months like this one. But she's not the only one. I think I see some buds with this one as well. I think right there. Maybe that's a bud. Not entirely sure about this one. But with this one, I'm pretty sure there are buds. And I think it is a pink one. So I'm happy they all caught and they're all producing leaves, except this one. This was a lazier African violet, but she's producing new growth right now, so I'm pretty sure she'll be okay as well. And yeah, I'm gonna have a whole lot of them. There are some perks to African violets. They're tiny and they're in bloom for longer or more frequent than orchids. So from this point of view, they're kind of nice. But there isn't a lot of variety for African violets, so no worries. My channel will not be overrun by violets. It will still be an orchid channel, but you have to admit, they're kind of pretty. And that's about it for today. Thank you for watching, hope you've enjoyed it. But if you have requests for orchids that you didn't see in a long time, just leave me a comment down below, and in my next requested videos I will include everything that you ask for. Alrighty, so if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. Subscribe to my channel for regular orchids and plants videos, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. And with that said, I'll see you all next time. Bye! Speaking about pretty orchids, look at this one. Yes, it's a Phal, but oh my goodness, she's so pretty. Now, this is one you don't really know because I purchased it almost dead actually, and the flowers were just unrecognizable, but I thought she would be pretty. Behold, it's just so pretty. I really like this one. There is no fragrance, like expected, but the flowers are really, really pretty. They're not very big, but enough.